morning, grade 4s. Today we are going to talk about area. Now, perimeter is like measuring the outside of a shape, whereas area is about measuring the area inside the shape. And so we're going to just start by talking about units. So we all know what this is. This is 1 centimeter. We use centimeters to measure distance. So if I use my ruler here, I can figure out that this is approximately 8 centimeters long. However, if I want to figure out the inside of a shape, how much space we need inside the shape, centimeters by themselves isn't a good unit to measure by, because I can fit 1 centimeter, 2 centimeter. I can stack like thousands of centimeters on top of each other like that. So centimeters are good for distance, but they're not good for area. So instead of using regular centimeters, we use what we call square centimeters. So instead of a line, this now becomes a square. And the unit sign for that is centimeters squared, or 1 square centimeter. So now it's a lot easier to measure this box's area, or how many squares would fit inside the box, if we use centimeters squared, because they're actually going to fit. So I could actually divide this box into square centimeters by measuring 1 centimeter by 1 centimeter along the whole entire shape, just like this. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Now my measurements are a little bit off today, but we will ignore that for now. Let's pretend these are all really nice square centimeters. And then once we have our square centimeters, all we need to do is count how many square centimeters fit. So if I look at just the purple lines, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So the area of this shape is 14 square centimeters, just like that. And I use the short form SQ for square sometimes. You can do that too, or you can write out the full word square. So we can use square centimeters to measure area. We can also use square meters. So if this is 1 inch, remember 1 inch measures lines, it measures distance, it measures the outside of a shape. But if I want to find the area, I use square inches. So this is basically 1 inch by 1 inch. It's like saying 1 inch times 1 inch. That gives you 1 square inch. There we go. And we could also measure a shape using square inches as well. I'm not going to show that because that would be a pretty big drawing on my page, but there we go. So now, how do we use these in area questions? Well, sometimes we don't use centimeters or inches at all. Sometimes we use what we call units. Units are any square shape like this. So this is 1 square unit. And maybe it isn't quite a centimeter, maybe it isn't quite an inch, maybe it's somewhere in between, maybe it's smaller, maybe it's bigger. They're just a unit that we can use to measure area. The only thing that matters is that every single unit is the same size. So for example, if this was our square unit, we could not find the area of this easily because this square and these squares are not the same size. However, if we're measuring in this square unit, and we get rid of that one, these square units are the same size as these, so we can measure in them. So if I want to find how many square units fit in my shape, all I do is I count the squares that I see. So I'm going to start counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. There we go. We got 16 square units. Man, that takes a while to figure out how many units are. And in order to count, I almost want to dot each box as I go. That way I don't mix them up. But either way, if my shape is really big, that's going to be a lot of dots to count. Isn't there a faster way to do this? Well, actually there is. We're going to be getting into this more tomorrow. But if we count 1, 2, 3, 4, the length by 1, 2, 3, 4, the width, and then we times them together, 4 times 4 gives me 16, the same answer. So we can multiply to find the area. Now this only works for rectangles and squares. What happens if I try to do it with this shape? Well, 1, 2, 3, 4 by 1, 2, 4 times 2 gives me 8. But uh-oh, there aren't 8 squares in here. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So the area of this shape is 6 square units. And that is because this shape is an L weird shape. It's not a rectangle. If it was a rectangle, that would be the area. But because it's not a rectangle, we just got to count the dots. So simple answer for area, if you are finding the area of a shape, count the squares inside the shape. The total amount of squares inside the shape gives you your area. I hope that's helpful for today, grade 4s. Goodbye.